Welcome, everybody. My name's Shane Thompson, and this is Bible Stories in 5 minutes. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to 5-Minute Bible Stories. Tonight, we are still working on Exodus. We're still learning about Moses. We're getting through the last of the plagues, the death of the firstborn son. In case you're wondering, yes, I do wear the same clothes every single time I do this. In case you were wondering. I know I would wonder. So here we go. Exodus chapter 12, the Passover and the festival of the unleavened bread. The Lord said to Moses and Aaron in Egypt, "This month is to be for you the first month of your year. Tell the whole community of Israel that on the 10th day of this month, each man is to take a lamb for his family, one for each household. If any household is too small for a whole lamb, they must share one with their nearest neighbor, having taken into account the number of people there are. You are to determine the amount of the lamb needed in accordance with what each person will eat. The animals you choose must be year-old males without defect, and you take them from the sheep or the goats. Take care of them until the 14th day of the month, when all the members of the community of Israel must slaughter them at twilight. Then you're to take some of the blood and put it on the sides and tops of your door frames of the house where they eat the lambs. The same night they are to eat the meat roasted over the fire along with bitter herbs and bread made without yeast. Do not eat the meat raw or boiled in water, but roast it over the fire with the head and legs and internal organs. Do not leave any of it till morning. If some is left till morning, you must burn it. This is how you are to eat it: with your cloak tucked into your belt, your sandals on your feet, and your staff in your hand. Eat it in haste, quickly. It is the Lord's Passover. On the same night I will pass through Egypt and strike down the firstborn of every people and animal. I will bring judgment on all the gods of Egypt. I am the Lord. The blood will be the sign for you on the house where you are, and when I see the blood, I will pass over you. No destructive plague will touch you, and I will strike Egypt. This is the day you are to commemorate for the generations to come. You shall celebrate it as a festival to the Lord, a lasting ordinance. For 7 days you are to eat bread made without yeast." This is the part you're supposed to have later. "From your houses. For whoever eats anything with yeast in it from the first day through the 7th day must be cut off from Israel." You're in trouble. "On the first day hold a sacred assembly, and another one on the 7th day, and do not work at all on those days, except to prepare food for everyone to eat. That is all you may do. Celebrate the festival of unleavened bread, because it was on this very day that I brought you divisions out of Egypt. Celebrate this day as a lasting ordinance for generations to come. In the first month you are to eat bread made without yeast. From the evening to the 14th day until the evening of the 21st day, for 7 days eat no yeast to be found in your house." So that's what you're supposed to do. Moses summoned all the elders of Israel and said to them, "Go at once and select the animals for your families and slaughter the Passover lamb." Just lost it. "Take a bunch of hyssop, dip it in the blood of the basin, and put some on the blood on the top and on both sides of the door frame. None of you shall go out of the door of your house until morning. When the Lord goes through the land to strike down the Egyptians, he will see the blood on the top and the sides of the door frame and will pass over that doorway, and he will not permit the destroyer to enter your houses and strike you down." That's very, very important. Follow these rules. Don't get killed. "Obey these instructions as a lasting ordinance for you and your descendants. When you enter the land of the Lord he will give you as promise, observe this ceremony." And when all the children, what does the ceremony mean? You tell them. It is the Passover sacrifice. Then the people bowed down and worshipped. The Israelites did just what the Lord commanded Moses and Aaron. At midnight the Lord struck down all the firstborn in Egypt, from the firstborn of the Pharaoh who sat on the throne to the firstborn of the prisoner who was in the dungeon, and the firstborn of all the livestock as well. Pharaoh and all his officials and all of the Egyptians got up during the night, and there was loud wailing in Egypt. I could only imagine, for there was not a house without someone dead. Your firstborn, because of ignorance, because you choose not to listen. During the night, Pharaoh summoned Moses and Aaron and said, "Up, leave my people, you and Israelites. Go worship the Lord as you have requested. Take your flocks and your herds as you have said, and go and also bless me." The Egyptians urged the people to hurry and leave the country, for otherwise, they said, "we will all die." So the people took their dough before the yeast was added and carried it on their shoulders in kneading troughs wrapped in clothing. The Israelites did just as Moses instructed and asked the Egyptians for articles of silver and gold and for clothing. The Lord had made Egyptians favorably disposed to the people, and they gave them what they asked for, so they plundered the Egyptians. They took their stuff. The Israelites journeyed from Ramses to Succoth, where they were about 600,000 men on foot, besides women and children. Many other people went up with them, and also the large droves of livestock, both flocks and herds. With the dough the Israelites had brought from Egypt, they baked loaves of unleavened bread. The dough was without yeast because they had been driven out of Egypt and did not have time to prepare food for themselves. Now the length of time the Israelites people lived in Egypt was 430 years. At the end of the 430 years, to the very day, all the Lord's divisions left Egypt. Because the Lord kept vigil that night to bring them out of Egypt, on this night all the Israelites are to keep vigil to honor the Lord for the generations to come. And that is the story of the Exodus. That is the story of what Moses did from birth until he led his people out of Egypt. That is how the Lord God had taken a man who challenged him, who didn't think he could do it, who questioned him. He had killed a guy. He knew people who did. He was in fear. He didn't speak well. He was scared. But he still followed what the Lord said. The Lord made a way for it to be done. The Lord can make a way for you to do the things that he is calling for you to do. So when he asks you to do something, when he asks you to serve, take the time to say yes. Moses said 7 times, gave 7 different excuses. Well, what if this? What if this? What if that? We all do that. God understands that. God understands that we're human. But he will make a way for you as he made a way for Moses. Moses was just a normal man, but God made him great by him following God and doing what God did, what God told him to do, being faithful. And that's what's important for us. It's important for you to be faithful. It's important for all of us to be faithful. Lord, bless you and keep you. Lord, make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. Lord, lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. God bless you all, and we will see you next time for the next 5-minute Bible stories.